It's a short video here just to show how to use a crimper for the molex pins. This is the crimper here. See, there's numbers on it which indicate your sizes. For the most part, you're going to use the E. You can see I have it pretty well worn out on this one, and the D. Okay, on the controllers, usually they're thin wires like this, so just strip them back to about 1/4 inch. And since you're using male pins, you can actually strip it quite a ways further because it can slide inside the extra can slide inside the housing of the metal, even though it doesn't go that far. So basically, like I said, you strip it about 1/4 inch. And what you need to do is take the pin, put it in your E with the E facing up, and you want to make sure it slides all the way in till the ears are flush, because if you don't, you're going to crimp the two little ears here that control how far in it goes into the plug. Alright, and I'm going to go to single wire. The handhelds have small wires, so you got to crimp them real good. Alright, twisting them helps them stop from buckling up. And you slide them in. You want to slide it in all the way till you can just see the casing is even at the end, and then give a real good squeeze, and it will look like that. If you see the wire popping out a little bit, just shove it in the groove. Okay, then you take your number D, which is the second one, and just give it a little squeeze like that, and that's the small pin. Alright, I'm going to do another one just in case the camera angle wasn't right. Okay, set your pin in, do not squeeze, just enough to hold it. And it's hard to do with trying to aim at the camera and look at what you're doing at the same time. Okay, I said casing just to the just up to where it reached the pliers, and then a little tweak of the back one. Okay, now if you're doing the larger wires are usually on the plow controller side, the plow harness side, which is these pins here, which are females. On these, you don't want to strip these too long and shove them too far into but the casings on these are fatter, so sometimes what you do is you prep them like this. Now again, you don't want that copper to go past these little ears into the shaft too much, otherwise your pins won't go all the way in. So on these, you don't want to go much over 1/4 inch. That's pushing the limits. Now the big casing tends to mess things up a little bit if you crimp the small one first. So again, use the D and crimp that one first, the back one, and then use your little guy and go up front. And your little guy, you got to watch. You want to make sure you don't get those little ears. See, right now I'm right up on top of them. Well, make sure you don't crimp those little ears that stop from going in. You got to be all the way into where the other pins were, and give that a good squeeze. Like I said, it can be done the other way. Let me strip one. Ugh. Again, this is for the female side, and I don't have another pin here. Let me grab one. Now, I said these, with the bit fat casing, it's easier to put them on I forgot to twist it a little bit. It's easier to put them in first, so that your casing goes in. And then, if you do squeeze the first little one first, you can make sure you're all the way back against those pins. Sometimes it tends to tip these backwards, so you just got to right them back up. The big casing tends to shove them backwards. Alright, number 2, get in there. And just give that a little squeeze. Those don't have to be real tight. Alright, so that's basically how you do them. When you put them in, you'll hear them click when they go in far enough. And these are not very strong metals, so try not to bend them too much. So just get all yours started in there and then slide them all in. What I try to do when I set them up is I try to set them up so that the groove in the pin is facing more towards the center section of the plug, not the outside. That way if they start squeezing too much, have to plug them in and unplug them, and these loosen up and they actually squeeze together, you can actually go in there and give it a little spread again, tighten them back up. And it's easier to do if you have the pins facing inward. Not sure if you'll be able to see this. Point them up towards the middle of the plug, the groove, so it's facing towards the middle. Then you can get an X-Acto blade in there and widen them up a little bit. I do mine before I install them. I spread them out a little bit. Alright, and that's about it. If you got any questions, just give me a ring or send me an email. Email's repairs1@ptd.net.